considering the pirates they have had to deal with out there in their own country. And it goes along these lines: where there is a sea, there are pirates. So I think in the economic sea they've had more than a fair share of pirates, and I don't think we're immune to the pirate attack as well on our terms and conditions and our earning ability and our tenure of employment throughout both civil service and public services. So it's not a miss. But it is National Speak Like a Pirate Day, so I will be saying ahoy there me hearties, avast there me mateys. Captain Mark is here to speak to you, and I think he needs no further introduction. Mark Serwotka, General Secretary of PCS. Thank you.
You want me to use the mic? Yeah. Is that on? Have I really got to use it today? No. Is that alright? I'd rather not. I was thinking Tom Jones. Anyway, good afternoon to everyone. Thanks very much for coming to the meeting. I know there's people for inviting me up to come and talk to you. What I wanted to do is to set out for people. It's a bit gloomy, some of this, but I want to set out where we are with the government in terms of the latest position, in terms of pay, pensions, job cuts, what we as a union think we need to be doing about it, and trying to put that in a context, hopefully, of your own experiences in IPS. And when I've done that, I mean, I'd be more than happy to hear people's thoughts or take any questions, because it is important, I think, if you're the General Secretary of the union and you come and talk to members right across the board and actually hear directly people's experiences. I also want to say at the outset, I want to thank everyone who supported the union over what has been desperately difficult times. We've had quite a lot of industrial action, more than any in the UK in terms of and I am well aware that people who are not on high incomes find going on strike really difficult. I can assure you that we never do it unless it's an absolute last resort, but I know the support here has been absolutely fantastic, and I want to thank you for that, because it is precisely places like this that the management in the Cabinet Office look at to see what the turnouts are like when they make the judgment of we got people's support or haven't we. So every last person who supported the union in the past period, it has been really, really important, and I want to thank you for that. I started in the civil service in 1980, March 1980 at 16. And I started in the then Department of Health and Social Security. I stayed for 21 years. I got promoted once. You can see I'm on the fast track to a high-flying civil service career. And like most people here, I thought what I was doing was an important public service. I thought that what I was joining was an employer that would be a decent employer over the period, and I was glad I joined the civil service. I was very glad that I managed to have 5 O-levels as the minimum qualification to come in as a then clerical officer. When I started, I lived at home with my mother in South Wales, and I don't know what it's like in Durham, but when you're in South Wales at that age, you ask your mother's advice and then you do what she tells you. And when I got offered the job in the civil service, I was also on the shortlist for a job with the Trustee Savings Bank. And I asked my mother what she thought I should do. And without hesitation, she said to me, get in the civil service, son. It's a job for life, it's really well paid, fantastic pension, and people in the community will look up to you with admiration for what you do on their behalf. Now, finding out my mother lied 4 times in one sentence is a cross I've borne ever since. But of course, the point was, she wasn't trying to deceive her only son to a life of toil in the civil service. She genuinely believed it. And she genuinely, as most people, if you stop them in the streets of Durham, would probably think of the civil service as a good employer, well paid, and we've got it easy. And because people have that perception, politicians, both Labour and Conservative, over the past 20 years, have been able to use this misunderstanding of what we do to always inflict on us first the worst policies that they've got in mind. Because not only do people not know what we do, they call us faceless bureaucrats, they say that we're inefficient, and then you ask anyone whose job should go first and they usually say the civil service. You know, if you stop somebody in Durham today and ask them what they thought of a teacher or a nurse, most people, I think, would have a positive message. You ask them about a civil servant, and if it isn't negative, probably the best you get is they don't really have a clue. And yet the reality is about the civil service now, as it always has been the case, is that in more than any other part of the public sector, we make life tick in all parts of the UK from birth until death. Whether it's collecting taxes or paying the benefits or the health and safety, driving licenses, passports, collecting tax and national insurance, child benefits, you think about it, every single thing that the state delivers is delivered through the civil service. And therefore we are an incredibly valuable part of the economy in Britain and of making things tick over. The unfortunate thing is, despite all of our best efforts, we have not managed to persuade people of what we do. And that means that we've always been up against it. Now when I look back to 1980, and I've met some people who've been around even longer than that since I've been here, but when I look back to 1980, I look back now and I think they were the good old days. It's a funny thing to think of. Mrs. Thatcher was the Prime Minister, but I look back now and I think it was a civil service, for all its faults, where the local managers used to have some say over what was done. The people managing the teams, the team leaders, had far more discretion as to how they dealt with their staff, rather than often now having to do it from a script that you will give a warning if someone has had 8 days off. It doesn't really matter what the circumstances are. People were encouraged to do their bit, and genuinely it was a service, never well paid, but at least one where you felt that you could make a difference. In fact, when I worked on the counter in the benefit office, whatever people came to see you about, even though the office was grotty and you took a ticket from the machine to get in the queue, when they got to the front, your job was to do whatever it was you could do to help. If you go now into a benefit office, and I bet it's the same in IPS, and you go into a job centre, you are invariably in the wrong place. You can't get in unless you've got an appointment. You're often told to go and ring a call centre, and it's a lot of the sending people all around the country to do things that they can do locally. It's all about a decrease in the service, and the service has decreased because it costs less money for the government. And therefore it's one sign of how in the civil service we've seen right across the board services deteriorate. And of course when services deteriorate, we get the blame. If you look at the child support agency, those who remember, it was the most denigrated part of the public sector that ever was. People used to call for its abolition all the time, and it was always the CSA this, the CSA that. It was one of the most under-resourced government departments with IT systems that didn't work. The staff never had a chance of delivering what they were supposed to deliver. And yet what happens when it goes wrong? Staff get the blame, government tell us only the private sector can do these things, and therefore we're going to have a complete reorganisation. In other words, set up to fail. Set up to fail so that they can bring in other solutions. Things have really changed in the last 20 or 30 years, and I think they've changed for the worse. I met somebody last week who told me that they don't think there's ever been a worse time to be a civil servant than there is now. And I think that's quite a statement for somebody to make. And when you look at what the government's actually doing to us at the moment, it does stack up. As bad as it's been over the past few years, and it wasn't great under the Labour government, if we're honest, now we have a government that's doing things that are actually breathtaking in scale. Let me just give you some examples. We are currently losing 4,000 jobs every single month in the civil service. It's the highest record level of job cuts there's ever been. The civil service is now smaller than at any time it's been since the Second World War, and in proportion to the public sector employment as a whole, it is smaller than it has ever been. 4,000 jobs a month. Just stop to think about that. 48,000 jobs a year, and we are proposed to take a further 110,000 job cuts by the general election in 2015. Now you will know Durham, you work here. Just imagine whether you think it is feasible for them to make another 25% reduction in staff on top of what you already have to put up with over the years. I mean, it's incredible. It means compulsory redundancies on a large scale are inevitable unless we can stop them making cuts. 4,000 each and every month. And we don't know of any department where people tell us that people are twiddling their thumbs and they haven't got enough to do. What we get is a rise of stress at work, people who can't cope, people who are saying it's target, 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 it's quantity, not quality, and there is a pressure right down through the system. And it's making people's working lives much more miserable than it used to be. Where in the past you could go to your manager, who would have some discretion and could perhaps, help, we now find increasingly that people are discouraged from doing so. So the situation on jobs alone is catastrophic. On the question of pay, we have a situation where the Governor of the Bank of England has said that we've seen the biggest fall in living standards since the 1930s. The Governor of the Bank of England actually said he was amazed that people weren't more angry about it. Now, if the Governor of the Bank of England said that, I think that's quite significant. For us in the civil service, who already have, according to Francis Maud, the lowest pay rates of any comparable jobs in the UK, he says the table is public sector, private sector, civil service. Ironically, because civil service pay has always been kept low because of our so-called non-contributory pension. You may be surprised therefore to know now that you're paying more for your pension, you think they compensate by giving you more pay? Absolutely not. So we already have the lowest levels of pay for comparable jobs. But what we've now had is a 3-year pay freeze, and now we're going to get 2 years of a 1% pay policy. Everyone in this room, if you conform to the average pay across the civil service, will be by the end of next year 20% worse off in real terms than you were 4 years ago. 20%. That is 1/5 worse off in real terms for coming to work. Does anyone think they're doing 1/5 less work? Is it 1/5 less stressful? Is it 1/5 in any way easier? Of course it's not. It's probably more stressful, you're probably working harder, and yet your pay has gone down catastrophically. And the government are planning more of it. If you've seen today in the newspapers, they've got some academics to resuscitate this argument about regional pay. We're now being told that regional pay is the only way to boost the economy, where public sector workers won't price themselves out of work and everything will be driven by local demands. Our research tells us in the North East, in Wales, in Scotland, in the South West, regional pay will be a calamity because it will be used to drive levels down even more. Where there are poorer economies, pay levels go down. Our view is your pay should be determined by the work that you do. Whether you are in Durham, in Aberdeen, or in Watford, if you're doing the same work, you should get equal pay for work of equal value. And yet they are now absolutely eroding this concept and starting to introduce the idea it's where you live. And that is a big worry for us on top of the pay freeze and everything else. It is a fact when we did a survey of PCS members a number of months ago, what we got back in the survey was absolutely astonishing. 77% of members who responded to the survey said that they felt worse off, even worse off since the Chancellor's budget. Over 80% of them said they routinely now have to borrow money to make ends meet, and about 60% said that they've run out of money in the third week of the month. Now, if that's the story of PCS members, we are heading for a much bigger calamity. If you actually take that on board with the Save the Children report that was reported in the press last week, they tell us 1 in 4 kids in the UK now live in poverty, and of those 1 in 4 kids, they're in households, 72% of them are in households where someone's working. So it's not this thing that poverty only exists when people are on benefits. Actually, in Britain, there is a real issue because pay levels are so low that poverty exists right throughout the country. If you're a PCS member, you will be caught up in that. The Save the Children report absolutely describes what life is like for many of our members. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel. The government are currently considering extending their policy of public sector pay restraints up and past the general election. And the problem is, disgracefully, the Labour Party supports them. So when I'm at the TUC last week, Ed Balls comes on behalf of Labour, and when he's criticised for supporting the pay freeze, his answer is, it's better to have pay freezes and keep jobs. Now the problem is, as we explained to him, we're having the pay freezes and losing the jobs. It's not an either or. We're having huge cuts, and we're having attacks on pay to levels that we've never seen before. Go back a minute to 1980 when Mrs. Thatcher was the Prime Minister. The pay rise for the civil service in the following year was just under 18%. Now it goes to show, inflation was very high then, but it goes to show that you look now, people have had 0%, followed by 1%. The figures that 5 years ago, we probably would have had a strike on the question of pay alone, because we said this is completely outrageous. The problem we've got now, of course, is it's not just pay, it's not just jobs, it's everything that's coming at the same time. And it's very difficult to stand back and say, well, what is it that we've got to fight, and how are we going to try and stop it? When some people say pay is a massive issue, others are worried about their jobs, it's relentless. Now, if you add into the pay of jobs the question of pensions, I don't think it is just worth us recording on pensions that our pay has been kept down, Cabinet Office accepted, because our pension contributions are lower than the rest. Now our pension contributions have gone up. They're going to go up again in the spring. So unless you have a pay rise that is more than your pension contribution increase in the spring, you'll take a further cut in the standards on top of whatever inflation is. They are also going to go up the spring after that. So there's 2 more years for civil servants of paying extra money into their pension. At the same time that you're paying more in, the government's increased the pension age. Now they've increased it to 68. 68 is the highest pension age of any country in Europe. In France it's 62, and the new president has just got elected and he's reduced it to 60 for many people. Yet in Britain it's 68. So you're going to be paying more in, having to work longer, and getting less out. It's an absolute disgrace. And so far we've been unable to stop the government from doing it. We've lost the legal action, we've had strikes, and they still at the minute say we're not prepared to get back into talks. That's all bad enough. But in the budget the government introduced, every year they will review the pension age program. It's already been said in Parliament that people who are at university now will actually work till they are 71. Kids who are born today will probably work till they are 77. Because the government's line is we're living longer and therefore it's automatic that you should work longer. Well, I think some of us have to say, I don't know what your experience is, but my grandfather, he actually couldn't afford to retire. He didn't have a work pension and he couldn't afford to retire, so he kept on working. And he worked and worked and worked, and when he finally stopped working, he died less than a year after his retirement. He never saw the fruits of having a pension, he literally worked till he dropped. If you look at the evidence that has been submitted to Parliament, although people are living longer, people are actually less healthy in old age. So actually what you've got a situation now is many people get to their 60s and then they'll be ill. You look at the healthy rates of life expectancy in parts of North East Scotland and Wales, it's incredibly low. And therefore what we see here is work. If you're fit enough, you will work right through now until the late 60s and for the next lot into their 70s, and you will pay more and more. Now what, I don't know what you think, but I remember when I was young being told that by the time I got to 40, we'd have a 4-day week, and everybody would share in the benefits of the fact that the world was richer and technology was improving. Actually, in my lifetime things have got worse, and we are the first generation that there has been for over 100 years whose kids will be worse off than their parents. So it's a pretty bleak picture, and we are paying the biggest price. And there's one final thing I want to mention on top of all of this, if that's not bad enough. Now, I do want to just say it's probably a bit depressing. I want to show I did not have my Leonard Cohen album on the iPod when I got on the train. Now this is gloomy, and it's gloomy because people need to understand, I think, what the government's agenda is. Because all of this is bad enough. But to tell you what is about to hit us is the biggest wave of privatisation that the public sector will ever see. Much bigger than what's happened in IPS and other parts of the civil service, where over the years they've picked away. You know, first of all it was people in typing rules, and then security guards, and then facilities management, and then it was people in call centres. What we're now getting is a situation where the government is planning massive privatisation because it's worked out that the quickest way to get the numbers of the public sector down is to outsource to private companies, and all the evidence is when that happens, paying commissions go down. How we know this, and this is quite remarkable, is that there are already 2 government departments that have brought in private companies who are working for 6 months free of charge. Now, I always thought the private sector was making a fast buck. When a multinational comes in and says, we'll do it for nothing, they're coming in actually to advise on restructuring free, because of course they know they're going to cherry pick and they've had a good chance to have a look around. In the Department for Education, the company that's been brought in former chief executive was Mitt Romney, the same Mitt Romney who's now standing to be president of the United States, and it's a company that has been brought in that is advising them on restructuring. And when you say to the department, what's going on, why are they doing it for free? They turn around and look you in the eye and they say, well, that's good, surely. We're getting all this help for nothing. And I think they just think we're dull. I just think they think we can't see what they're doing. And therefore privatisation after the election is going to be the real weapon of choice of the government if they get back in to massively slash the numbers. Now if you stand back for a minute and we think about pay, 4,000 jobs a month, pensions going the way they're going, privatisation, you add into that in times gone by, you may have had a partner, a husband, or a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, son or a daughter, who may have worked in a different part of the economy that may have meant, even if it was slightly tough for us, in your family you could cushion that blow because the other half or somebody else wasn't being affected. The problem now, of course, is everyone is being affected. 700,000 jobs are going in the private sector, directly linked to government cutbacks in public spending. If you then look around and think, well, at least we've got our local services to fall back on, there isn't a community anywhere in the UK that is not having to see major cuts in services being provided to local authorities as the government calls back on money. Brendan Barber, the General Secretary of the TUC, who is not known as a sort of lefty firebrand, actually sort of sums all this up by saying that this is unprecedented in Britain. The assault on our public services is so severe that we may never recover if they get away with it. Now when the head of the TUC is using that type of language, I think we all have to sit down and say, well, something needs to be done. And that's really what I just wanted to sort of wind up on really, which is what can we do? Because one of the phrases that, do you remember the phrase shock and awe when there was an Iraq war and the Americans said, we're going to unleash holy hell on them, shock and awe, and that's going to frighten them so much into submission. What we think is happening with public spending is the equivalent of political shock and awe. It's actually saying to us, we're going to throw so much at you at the same time that people will conclude there's nothing can be done, will put their head down and just hope that they get away with it not quite as badly as the next person. And our answer to it can only be, we can't let people just stand to take this themselves. We've actually got to say that if we stand together, we can make a massive difference. We can make a massive difference, but it is going to take us standing together, and it is going to mean we've got to be prepared to stand up and fight. Because if we don't, what we lose, we'll never get back. And I will come here in 2 or 3 years' time, and probably won't be in this office. There may be hundreds less staff than there were, there may be more privatisation, you won't have had pay rises in times of inflation, it'll be even grimmer. And there'll be some people who sat home who will have wished that they could have retained a civil service career. So we are at a point, where not just for us, but for everybody else, there's a tipping point, and it's coming sometime soon. And on that basis, PCS has argued, and it's a tough argument to make, that these are times where we have to stand up as hard as it is, because if we don't, we regret it. Now, unfortunately, there are other unions that take a different view. Take a view that ours might have taken 10 years ago, which is pointless. Actually, you've got to try your best, but you've just got to weather the storm. And that's one of the reasons why after the 30th of November, when we had 2 million people on strike in Britain on full pensions, it wasn't followed up. Because we believed it would have been followed up quite quickly, the government would have had to take a step back. Unfortunately, some of the other unions in the UK decided that they weren't prepared to do any more. And that's why we don't think we saw the success there that potentially was possible. And we're trying to rebuild, by the TUC, a position that says, again, if we all do something together, later this year or early next, then we have the potential to force it back, particularly because the government is in a bit of disarray. It's a coalition government, they're falling out over lots of things. If they had lots of people standing up to them, it could force them to move back. That's what we now have to consider doing. Not an easy message, because nobody ever wants to have to do these things. But if we think about what the alternative is, our judgment is it really becomes a no-brainer. You have to do something about it, or we're absolutely going to regret it. And in that sense, whilst I'm not coming today to say that, we have nobody's called any strikes or anything, the next big thing we're looking at is the October 20th demonstration. There's one in London, there's one in Glasgow. where we are hoping 1 million people are going to march through the streets of London. There was well over 500,000 March the 26th. We're hoping it can be 1 million people, showing the government by marching that actually we've got a real united coalition of people, public, private sector, people on benefits, students, people who are all suffering as a result of the government's economic policy. And we hope that that show of strength will never think again. If it doesn't, then we believe we should follow it up with as much joint action with unions in the public and private sector as we can in order to try and stop some of this stuff. That's what we hope you will support if we get to it. But in the meantime, our message, and I'll finish on this, has to also be, we can't just wait until we hope to persuade everybody else in the weeks and months ahead. Because if we do that, we've lost another 4,000 jobs a month. We've had another year of paying strength. And in that sense, what we are doing in the union now is making it clear to members wherever they work, if they believe they need to make a stand now, we will fully support them. And that has begun to get some results. If you look at the Home Office and yourself, the industrial action you were due to take just before the Olympics, very controversial. The reality is, whatever has subsequently been said, while there was a recruitment ban imposed from the centre and the Cabinet Office, there is now recruitment happening in the IPS, and we were told there's 300 extra jobs. There's 800 extra jobs being taken on before that. None of that would have happened had they not thought that there was going to be a strike. In HMRC, your colleagues in the tax offices, they called up a strike 2 weeks ago. They've taken some action. They've got 1,000 extra jobs. 3,000 temporary staff will be given extra employment rights, and there's a commitment they're going to recruit another 3,000 in the next 2 years. Now, my point here is it wouldn't have happened unless people were prepared to say, we want to do something about it. And in a way, perhaps that's the key to what we need to do. Try to argue for the big picture that all unions should work together, but also say to members, if it is getting terrible for you, we will support you if you believe now is the time to do something. And I think that's something that people have to consider everywhere. It's not my job to go around and tell people about striking. It's my job to go around and say, we will support you if you decide we need to do something in the IPS or Home Office or anywhere else. And I know, having talked to your reps, there's an uncertainty here about the future of the building, with the lease coming up, what's the future going to be, where you're going to be based. It's going to be a lot smaller than what it is now. Precisely the type of uncertainty that your colleagues right throughout the UK are feeling in different government departments. The government believe by making it uncertain and worrying, people will keep their head down. We hope that you agree the job of the union has to be to say the exact opposite is needed. The more we stand up and tell them we are not just taking it, the more food for thought it gives them, and the better chance we have got of knocking them back. My last sentence is what my father told me when I was 14, which I do think sums up the situation we're in. It's that old saying he told me when he said that if you fight for things in life, you're never guaranteed to win. And that's true. If I said to you, you go on strike, I promise you we will win, I would be a fool, because I can't make that promise. But the saying goes on, when you never fight at all, you lose every single time. And that's the position we're in. We can try and stand up to stop it, or we can accept it. And if we accept it, we worry that people will regret it for years and years to come. I hope you will agree the union should do what it can. I hope you will support us if we do have to call action nationally. The most important there, I hope that you understand my job is to ensure that I support you and your local reps if we need it. Good luck to everyone. I'm happy to take questions, but if we stick together, we've got a chance